everyone, I am Febrianis Marmanta, and this video is for pronunciation assessment. Pronunciation is the manner in which a word of or language is spoken, encompassing various aspects such as the articulation of sounds, stress, rhythm, and intonation patterns. From Marmanta and Pardede 2018. It is a fundamental element of communication, as it directly influences how well spoken language is understood by listeners. Pronunciation involves the production of distinct speech sounds, known as phonemes, which are the smallest units of sound that disguise this word in a language. In English, for instance, the difference between the words bed and pet lies in just one phoneme. Additionally, pronunciation includes stress patterns, where certain syllables in words are emphasized more than others, and intonation, which refers to the rise and fall of the voice when speaking. These elements help convey not only the meaning of words, but also the speaker's emotion, attitudes, and nuance of speech. The historical development of English production has been shaped by a series of cultural, political, and social influences over many countries. In the Old English period, the language was heavily influenced by the German tribes such as the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who settled in England. The Vikings also left a significant mark, especially in the northern part of England, where many Scandinavian words and sounds were adopted into the language. At this stage, English pronunciation was vastly different from the modern form we are familiar with today, featuring a range of sounds and patterns that would be unrecognizable to contemporary speakers. The most significant transformation in English pronunciation took place during the modern English period, 1500 to present, especially with the occurrence of the Great Vowel Shift. This was a major linguistic phenomenon in which the pronunciation of vowels underwent a radical change between the 15th and 18th centuries. Long vowels in particular shift upwards in the mouth, so that words like time, which are once pronounced as tim, took on their modern forms. The Great Vowel Shift is often considered a key reason why the spelling of English words often does not match their correct pronunciation. As English continued to evolve, standardization increased, especially with the rise of print texts and dictionaries. The work of early lexicographers like Samuel Jones helped establish guidelines for pronunciation, which contribute to the more uniform pronunciation that we see today. In conclusion, pronunciation is a dynamic and essential part of language that encompasses not only the physical production of sounds but also the cultural and historical context in which a language evolves. Understanding the history of pronunciation from its roots in Old English to the modern complexities introduced by global variation and technology provides valuable insight into how language functions as a living, changing system of communication. As English continues to develop and spread, pronunciation will remain a key aspect of language learning and teaching, reflecting both tradition and innovation in the ever-evolving landscape of communication. Definition of pronunciation. Pronunciation is the way in which words or sounds are spoken, forming its essential aspect of verbal communication. From Napoleon 2020. It refers to the accurate pronunciation of speech sounds, ensuring clarity and understanding between speaker and listeners. Pronunciation is not just about articulating individual sounds, but also involves aspects such as stress, intonation, and rhythm that contribute to the overall sound of spoken language. At its core, pronunciation focuses on phonetics, which are the small units of sound in a language. For example, the words bad and pet differ in only one phoneme B and P, but this difference changes the meaning entirely. Accurate pronunciation of forms is critical for avoiding misunderstandings and ensuring effective communication. In English, these forms are combined into syllables and words, which then need to be pronounced with appropriate word stress. Certain syllables in words are stressed more than others, which can also influence meaning. For instance, the word record is pronounced differently depending on whether it is used a noun or verb. Record versus record. Pronunciation also involves intonation, or the rise and fall of the voice during speech. Intonation helps convey emotion, attitudes, and subtle meaning beyond the words themselves. For example, a rising intonation at the end of a sentence may indicate a question, while a falling intonation might indicate a statement or conclusion. Furthermore, rhythm in pronunciation reflects the flow and timing of speech, make the delivery of language smooth and natural. In addition to these core elements, pronunciation is influenced by regional accents and variations. Different English-speaking regions, such as the United States and United Kingdom and Australia, have these distinct ways of pronouncing words, with notable difference in vowel and consonant sounds. Consonant sounds. These differences are a natural part of language evolution and can serve as marks of identity, indicating where a person comes from or their cultural background. In conclusion, pronunciation is a complex and multifaceted component of language that goes beyond simply saying words correctly. It encompasses the precise articulation of sounds, the proper use of stress and intonation, and the natural rhythm of speech. Mastering pronunciation is critical for clear and effective communication, as it ensures that meaning is conveyed accurately and that the speaker's message is understood and identified. With the Norman conquest in 1060, the next phase, Middle English, saw a dramatic change in pronunciation. The ruling Norman elite spoke French, and as a result, French became the language of the court, law, and the crown. English speakers began to borrow many words from French, which brought new sounds and pronunciation patterns into the language. During this period, English grammar and pronunciation became more simplified, and the language began to lose some of these more complex inflections. The whispered adoption of French loanwords also introduced new challenges in pronunciation, as English speakers adapt French sounds to fit the native English phonic system. One of the most significant events in the history of English pronunciation is the Green Vowel Shift, which took place during the late Middle English and early Modern English periods. Roughly This was a major change in the pronunciation of loving vowels in English, which shifted upward in the mounds. For example, the word bite, which used to be pronounced more like beat, gradually shifted to this modern pronunciation. The great vowel shift had a profound impact on English, leading to the mismatch between spelling and pronunciation that we see today. As the result, many words are spelled according to their older pronunciation, even though they are now pronounced. In conclusion, the history of pronunciation in English is a story of continuous change and adaptation, from its Germanic roots and the influence of French to the transformational impact of the Great Vowel Shift and the rise of global varieties. English pronunciation has evolved in response to the historical events and cultural shifts. Understanding this history not only deepens our appreciation of the language but also helps explain the diversity and accent and declares the characteristics English today. In addition, pronunciation plays a significant role in conveying emotion and its intonation. The way words are pronounced through stress and intonation can alter their meaning and emotional impact. For instance, a statement delivery with rising intonation may imply a question or incorrectly, while valid intonation can indicate finality or assurance. assurance. Understanding the subtleties allows speakers to express themselves more effectively, enabling them to convey not just information but also feelings and attitudes. In conclusion, pronunciation is a fundamental aspect of communication that significantly influences understanding, credibility, emotional expression, and interpersonal relationships. Its importance cannot be overstated, as effective pronunciation not only ensures clarity and comprehension, but also fosters confidence and engagement in various communicative contexts. Mastering pronunciation is essential for anyone speaking to communicate effectively, whether in personal interaction, professional setting, or language learning and in the words. Thank you.